The Senior Rehab Podcast is sponsored by Great Seminars and Books. If you need high-quality geriatric con ed that's worth your time and money, check out Great. Owned by the living legend Carol Lewis, Great offers courses and products created by recognized leaders in geriatrics. Learn the most effective techniques for diagnosing and treating your patients. Just go to seniorrehabproject.com/great and get $25 off by using the code SRP25. In a small town in West by God, Virginia, lives a woman. Widowed, 4 kids, 8 grandkids, 15 great-grandkids and counting. She's loved by many and has made thousands of people smile by just being in their presence. Among many accolades, she's been known to make the best biscuits this side of the Mississippi. Her secret? She'd have to kill you. This is my grandmother, Ruth Lenore, but I call her Nanny.
Is that my heart?
All the lines from the audio, that's not your heart. If that was your heart, you'd be in big trouble right now, Nanny.
I'd be down to the hospital.
Who am I talking to?
I'm Dustin's nanny. You're talking to her.
Yep. That's
How's
right.
that?
So, Nanny, this audio, this bit that we're going to record, is going to be listened to in over 95 countries. Does that make you nervous?
Yes, very.
You're good. You're good. The listeners know about you already because I talk about you a lot. So they're familiar with the infamous Nanny.
Well, that's great.
All right, here's what we're going to do. I want to get you reading this bit because I want you to be in the intro. Now, right now, the intro is read by Peony, our friend up in Columbus, and she's great. But I got to have my grandmother doing the intro for this podcast. So here's what we'll do. Just read it and I can edit it. Yep. This is a Senior Rehab Podcast, the podcast for rehab clinicians that want to better serve older adults. And now your host, my grandson, Dusty Jones. Because you and my father are the only ones that call me Dusty. Hit me!
This is a Senior Rehab Podcast, the podcast for rehab clinicians that want to better serve older adults. And now your host, my grandson, Dusty Jones.
Hello, friends. I hope this finds you doing well, and I hope you enjoy that new intro with the one and only Nanny Jones. And yes, her biscuits are that good. So I wanted to just touch base with you all, give you all an update on what's been going on around here and just kind of what to expect going forward. So the first big announcement that I want to share with you, that the podcast network that, we started, I guess, not even a year ago, I guess 9 months ago, is now titled Geros Collective. That is Geros Collective. Why Geros? Geros is a Greek translation for old age. And when I think about what we are trying to do in terms of the Senior Rehab Project, but then the other podcasts that we partner with, we're trying to redefine old in the sense of what older adults are capable of, but also how we as healthcare providers perceive old and old age. So we're going to mainly try and do this to redefine old through audio. So we're a podcast network. And the goal is to make this the podcast network for healthcare providers that want to better serve older adults. So we're looking to branch out of our kind of little rehab bubble and reach different types of healthcare providers. So go ahead and check out Geros Collective. That's Geros Collective.com. And you can see the podcast family. It's me, Seniors Flourish, Voice of the Patient, Healthcare Reboot, the Home Health Minute, and the Stave Off podcast. And the link will be in the show notes to that. Also, an update on the Senior Rehab Project. We've got a new look and a new vision. So if you have not been over to the website in a while, I highly encourage you to check that out as well. We took the last month to try and change the wording, change the look to really reflect what we want to do going forward. And so going forward, the Senior Rehab Project is an online community for rehab clinicians to crush mediocrity and better serve our aging population. Notice I didn't say anything about a podcast. I want to emphasize the online community aspect because this is what we are. It has become very apparent to me that this is so much more than just 2 shows a week of audio, whether it's interviews or research reviews or reading blog posts. But this is a collective group of motivated rehab clinicians that are wanting to change things. And so I want to focus SRP on that community, not necessarily on the podcast, but on the community through the Facebook group. But the big thing that I want to focus on are the game changers. So the game changers, those are the people that are the paid members. These are the people that have some skin in the game. They are the ones that I'm giving the ability to influence the direction of this podcast. We meet once a month. We have a meetup. We discuss a pertinent article or a pertinent topic that is voted upon by this group. And we try and not just learn something, but create something to help change our profession. And so it's a group of game changers. We're trying to produce things and create things that are going to advance the quality of care that we're trying to provide older adults. So I'm really excited to invest more in this group and just to really, kind of give them the reins on what we make of this. And so going forward, this group is going to vote upon what they want to talk about, what they want to hear about, and what they want to create. And so the format going forward is going to be in alternating months, and we're gonna try this. So I don't want to pigeonhole myself to this strict schedule, but we're gonna have just some months of kind of the regular long form interviews, getting to know industry experts, learn a lot and things that we can go ahead and use in the clinic that day. But we're gonna alternate those months with more topic specific months. And this, I think you all are really going to love based on the download numbers of last month when we did the series on documentation. Just the applicable information in kind of shorter chunks, but everything was kind of coherent and it was a series around one topic. You all seem to have really enjoyed based on the download numbers. And so we're going to try and do more of that. So view kind of these different months, hopefully 6 months out of the year, as a series that is going to give you really, really helpful information and practical advice and pertinent evidence and research that we can use in the clinic the next day. As I've kind of observed what's been going on the past month with this documentation series and seeing the downloads and the interest, it's just become so apparent that we need more of that. We need more series that people can consume and be able to utilize. I love the long form interviews. I love, laughing with people, getting to know them, getting to hear their backstory, where they come from and their perspective on different things. But I think we need some more substance. And I know many of you have been screaming that for a while, and I'm just now actually hearing you. But to be honest, substance is hard. Substance takes time. It's very easy for me to get on and talk for an hour with someone and drink a beer with them. I mean, that's not difficult whatsoever, but it is hard to sift through some research to try and get topic experts on this show to try and talk with them. But I feel like that's what's going to serve you all best and serve the game changers as well. But I can't do that alone, so I'm building a team. And Joe Daniels mentioned that last week, but we're bringing on a couple people that are really going to spearhead this topic-focused these series that we're going to do every other month. I'm not going to announce who they are just yet, but I want to do a formal episode to introduce you to them. You're already probably familiar with one of them, but I'm not going to say anything else about that. But we are creating a team to formulate helpful content, to produce series that will be a resource for many, many years to come, because it can be so easy for all these interviews to just kind of go in the abyss of the internet, to never be heard from again. And I want to create something. I want to create something that's going to be long-lasting, that's going to be impactful and serve people for many, many years to come. And I think this is one way that we can do that. So that's all I got, folks. We're just under 10 minutes, so you can take the next 40 to 50 minutes that you would usually spend listening to the conversation And just go to jaroscollective.com and seniorrehabproject.com. That's a much better use of your time. You can check out the new website and the new look and just kind of the vision going forward. And you should see a little pop-up that will mention something about the Geriatric PT Essentials. It's a PDF created by the Game Changers about the essentials for being successful in working with older adults. Go to seniorrehabproject.com and you should see a link for that pop up at some point. So thank you all for taking the time to support this show, to listen to it, to interact in the Facebook group. It is greatly appreciated, and I'm very excited for what's ahead. We really got something going. We got some momentum. We got some direction, and most importantly, we have people involved, and it's not just one person. That makes me very, very excited. So thank you all for what you do, and I will talk with you soon. The Senior Rehab Podcast is sponsored by Great Seminars and Books. If you need high-quality geriatric con ed that's worth your time and money, check out Great. Owned by the living legend Carol Lewis, Great offers courses and products created by recognized leaders in geriatrics. Learn the most effective techniques for diagnosing and treating your patients. Just go to seniorrehabproject.com/great and get $25 off by using the code SRP25. This podcast is brought to you in partnership with the Jaros Collective, a podcast network that's redefining old and equipping healthcare clinicians to better serve our aging population. Find out more at GEROScollective.com.